Hey, good evening. This is Christine Crowell here, and welcome to the channel. And I just want to say, wow, thank you for being here. And let's just talk about this again. Gold reevaluation, what this means, because silver prices are now new. It's up and coming. So things are really changing. Stay to the end because there is a free guide included. So I want to share with you some of the history behind gold and silver, because a lot of us don't really think about what the history is of the gold and silver, for example. So gold reevaluation, it is a critical topic right now. We're seeing it all the time. So it's good for us to explore the potential of the new monetary system that we are now all being faced with, because we know that cash is being devalued. So now gold and silver is really becoming the new monetary system. And according to experts as well. And I truly believe that that is the case as well. So adjusting the value of gold can significantly influence global financial dynamics and economic stability. You're hearing of it all the time, forknuts, people having gold delivered to them, for example, banks requesting for their gold to be delivered back to them, Federal Reserves, central banks, everyone's buying gold, governments are buying gold and silver around the world, for example. And even more so, they're buying they're buying silver, which is obviously that is a very high indicator that it's going to create silver to go up. So this is why I'm doing so many videos, because I believe that we're not doing enough wealth building strategies. We're not doing enough investments in ourselves, for example, for whatever reason. So historically, gold has been the safe haven and a standard for current valuation. But what about silver? What about silver? Everyone's talking about gold, 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 because gold, everyone wears gold more than silver. Everyone buys gold more than silver. But yet silver looks just as good. So why is gold looking more appealing to people than silver, for example? So, like I said, gold has been the safe haven for a very long time and standard currency as well. But while gold takes center stage, which it is, and silver is like the poor relative that historically played a critical complementary role to gold. Understanding gold reevaluation, for example, is a necessity to a broader perspective that includes silver as its value and utility that it can actually bring significantly. It really has changed the gold status now today. So we're going to be diving into this topic and what it means for investors like you. And I also want to say to you that I am not a financial advisor. So please do seek financial advice. I'm giving you information that is from financial experts, but also from analysis and things like that from stock market people. This is the information that is readily available on the internet that anybody can access, for example. But the reason why I'm talking about this so much is because I know that when we was doing gold and silver parties, for example, we were making money from that and turning it into gold bars, for example, coins, silver bars, silver coins. So this is the reason why I'm talking about it so much, because I know that this does work because I've done it myself. And it is a cheaper way to buy gold and silver, scrap gold and silver, as opposed to buying from, the larger organizations, which is fine. And, I'm not saying to do it the way I did it. It depends how much money you've got available. Okay, so this is another reason, because there are some amazing products out there, and I will mention them in this video as well. So I'm going to talk to you about the historical role of what gold and silver in monetary systems. So imagine gold and silver has been a central part in our lives, haven't they? For centuries, for example, we always hear of gold and silver. So gold has been revered for its rarity and also its accessibility, used in everyday transactions. Back in late 1800s, for example, the major shift, which is called the Coin Act 1873, effectively really demonetized the silver. Okay, so leading to its decline as a currency standard. The shift made gold the primary metal in monetary systems and contributed as well to the economic disparities as well. So understanding this historical shift is crucial to grasping the future role in the financial landscape. So gold and silver ratio, I spoke about it in the videos, for example. And the video, which is, I'll put it up here once this video processes. I'll put the video up here as a video for you to watch, but do check it out. I'll even put the link here just so it's quick after I finish this video, for example. But the video I was talking about, and I showed you the graphs, etc. There's also going to be a video available tomorrow morning, where I show you the video that I talked about the other day, and it's got the graphs with it, for example. And just basically saying, what about silver? Why is no one buying silver? Because silver is becoming a very strong asset that is being demanded all around the world. So it is significant, because when gold values shift, silver often follows. So I'll say that again. So gold is shifting and it drags silver along with it. They go, it's like a magnet. Yeah. So if gold is revalued, silver could see a dramatic shift, which is what we're starting to see, the increase, restoring its premise in the monetary system for investors. Understanding this ratio can offer valuable insights into the market confidence and economic trends. Billionaires, millionaires are ordering silver by the ton. Not ounces, but by the tons. They're ordering tons of silver bars, coins. They're ordering, it's just running out of the vaults as fast as, as possible. All of these vaults are being drained, for example. Like in the UK, the Americans asked for their gold and silver, so it's going over to the States, for example. But you can't get it instantly when it's in a vault, because you have to wait a number of weeks for it to be ready, for it to be given to you, for example. So that's why a lot of people are kind of making sure that they've got silver and gold, for example, bars and coins, readily available in case they need it. Because we know that the dollar, pound, etc. currency is going down in value. So investors are understanding this ratio and that it can offer valuable insights into the market. So let's look at the lessons from, for example, Germany many years ago, how gold and silver held their value. So imagine stacks of devalued currencies. Imagine you got a wheelbarrow full of pounds, for example, or dollars, for example, and it's taken all of that to buy a loaf of bread. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? It would be unbelievable. But I'm giving you an example here. So history has already shown us what happens when currency collapses. So take the German story in early 1920s. The hyperinflation wiped out the value of their currency, but gold and silver retained its worth. People who held onto those precious metals were able to preserve their wealth despite the economic downturn and turmoil. So studying historical patterns, which is what I've been doing lately, helps us to understand how gold and silver functions as safe havens in times of crisis. So how gold revaluation could affect silver prices here. So if gold is revalued, will silver follow? Historically, when gold prices rise significantly, silver also increases demand, as many investors see it as an affordable alternative. But silver isn't just a monetary metal, it also is industrial applications in technology, solar energy, for example, electronics, electric vehicles, solar panels, for example, AI chips, technology. There's so many things that silver is used for. It's it's a dual purpose, not just to wear, not just to hold, not just to, it's for industrial as well, manufacturing. So, but bear in mind, there's only so many gold mines globally around the world, for example. So this silver mine, the mines around the world globally, it is depleting. So in 20 to 25 years, there may not be any more silver unless they find these mines. So they've got to start looking and searching for these mines. And we hear people say drill, for example. But we've got to find where these silver mines are, for example. So imagine that this is creating a double demand, which is going to bring the price up of silver to where gold is. And maybe could be more. We don't know what the future holds, for example. And people are predicting different things. Some people are saying silver is going to reach $2,000 per ounce, $800 per ounce, for example. At the moment, it's $35 per ounce, for example. So what is it that you can do to prepare for potential shift in the global economy? Because we all need to start thinking about this to have some precious metal of some sort. So consider incorporating gold and silver in your investment strategy. to protect against inflation and currency instability. Educate yourself on market trends. Read books, take online courses if you can, and attend financial seminars. If you're really serious about financial security, now is the time to explore the opportunities. And we are holding some wealth building, i.e. how to start your gold, silver business trainings. We're holding some boot camps now because I feel it's important for me to talk about wealth building, because I started talking about this in September last year. The beginning of September, July, September, I was talking about we need to start building wealth. We've got to start putting some money aside each month, for example, to build our wealth because of the inflation that we're facing. Look, I've been through 3 recessions. This is my 4th recession. So I kind of know now what to look out for. But boy, it's taken me 3 recessions to wake up. And when this 4th, which I believe we're in now, has hit me, I knew about it from September last year. I knew something was coming because of all the instabilities that was happening. So we need to, if you haven't prepared now, and some of you have, if you haven't prepared now, now is the time to start thinking about either buying gold or buying silver or doing a scrap gold silver business like what I did with my husband in 2007, for example. And this is the reason why I'm doing so much training and talking about this every single day, because I know how important it is, because I've been through 3 recessions. So what is it that you can do to prepare? Like I said, diversify is key. Consider incorporating gold and silver in your investment strategy to protect against inflation and currency instability. So what I want you to do is to look at understanding gold and silver dynamics, how crucial it is for navigating your financial landscape. So as gold becomes a growing discussion, which is every day, silver is also becoming that discussion. And it should not be overlooked. Silver should not be overlooked. So what I'd like to hear from you, if you drop in the comments, are you already looking at buying silver? Or maybe you've started buying silver or gold, for example, because it shouldn't be overlooked to help spread, your wealth. So I want to also talk further about what it is that you, for example, can start looking at. Now, I've got a link here where you can get the PDF, which is a free gold, silver reevaluation. Okay, this is a free guide for you to download, for example. The link is in the description, for example. And what it really talks about is gold and silver wealth strategies. It's a beginner's guide to precious metal investing. So this is all part of what we do, our new training program, which is to do with the gold and silver wealth strategies, for example. Gold and silver, it has a valuable asset, for example, and for centuries, against the economic uncertainties, So the guide will help you to understand the very basics, the very beginning of this, so that you can start looking at it and really taking it in, and you will grow stronger and stronger at this, for example. So it's got various, we've got various chapters that we also cover and that I'll be covering as well. And it talks about wealth preservation, crisis edge, for example, diversification, hedge against stock market volatility, because the stock markets, there's a lot of up and down. There's a lot of 1 minute up, 1 minute down, then it goes down even more. The thing that I can say is gold and silver is key. It's key. It holds its value, and it's not going to go down. It will go up, but you have to play the waiting game. However, if you need the money in emergency, you're able to get at it at the value that it is on the day. So it doesn't devalue, for example. So gold versus silver. What is the key differences here? Well, gold is a primary store value, for example, central banks, reserves, assets, for example, and it's lower. It's quite easy to sell. It's liquid. Liquid money, liquid cash. So I always remember the saying, cash is king. It's not anymore. It's gold and silver is king and queen, for example. So with silver, it's more affordable. So you can buy an ounce of silver, for example, for $35, for example. And check out my video that I did yesterday, for example. And also there's going to be one available in the morning, which is quite a lengthy video with the graphs in there as well. So with silver, it's more affordable. It's industrial. It's used for technology and renewable energy. It's higher price. It fluctuates. So it's going to keep fluctuating because it's trying to keep up with silver. So it's like I said, it's like a magnet. The gold is here and the silver is just being pulled along. And hopefully it will get there and then probably pass it. So imagine if you spent a small amount than what you would have done on gold. And this is why the millionaires, the family offices, the billionaires, the governments, the banks, the Federal Reserves, all of these, Fort Knox, that's why they're asking for their gold and silver, because they know that they need it in case there is a turmoil, for example, an emergency where you need that money and you need it fast. Okay, so think about how silver actually affects us. Okay, so a rise in gold prices, how gold affects us. A rise in gold prices typically boosts silver. So the demand as a lower cost is an alternative, making it a really strong complementary asset to gold. So buying gold and silver, what you need to know. So there's types of metals to buy. Bullion, bars, for example, and coins. I've spoken about my story back in 2007, for example, where we turned scrap gold and scrap silver, for example, by doing these gold parties and these gold parties we called them, but it was gold and silver, and turning them into scrap. It was already scrap gold because they were old jewelry, or it was broken jewelry, or there was an earring missing. You're not going to wear one earring, so you gladly would give that up and get some money for it. For example, broken chains, broken clasp, for example. There's lots of different things that you could sell your scrap jewelry. And so we held these parties, for example, or we'd go to a host house and a party would be held there, and then we would then have our testing equipment and our all of these things, scales, and our sheet of paper knowing what the market price was for the day, for example, and then we would then purchase at like 30% less, even 40% less sometimes. Now imagine that. You couldn't really buy a coin for 30% less, could you? So again, if this is really done correctly, in 5 years' time, you've made money on the gold bars or coins that you've had smelted down, where you've melted the gold down, for example, into coins or gold bar from the scrap, gold or silver, for example, and you've melted them down, and yet you've purchased it like 30%, 40% less than what the spot price is for the day, for example. And then 5 years later, it's increased. So if you, for example, if you was to sell gold, and you purchased it at, say, the moment it's $3,000, for example, for an ounce, and you've got 400 grand worth of gold, for example, well, 100, and if you did the scrap gold party thing I'm talking about here, well, when you cash that in, it's going to be worth more, for example, than when you purchased it at 3,000, 5 years' time, for example. Plus, you've reduced the amount of money that you've paid for it by 30%. So if you cash in at 400,000, for example, you've made 160,000 profit in 5 years. But don't forget, the gold is also going up. So the gold, some of the analysis is saying, is going to be worth, it's 3,000 an ounce at the moment. It could be 5,000. It could then go up to 10,000, and so on and so forth. In 5 to 10 years, I'm referring to here. With silver is also going up. Silver at the moment is $35, but I'm sure it's going to reach $50 per ounce. But it seems to be like increasing by 10%, for example. But imagine 5 years from now, because of the shortage of the silver mine, for example, then it's going to bring the price up because it is a rare commodity. And also industrial. So you can get silver coins, for example, okay? But in 1965, I'm going back a bit, coins hold historical and silver value. There's gold and silver, paper investments, tracking metal prices. I've never done that before, but also the financial analysis and the specialist are not recommending that you do that for physical ownership, because it's not recommended for physical ownership. You really want, the best one is that you've got that gold and silver in your hand, or you can get hold of it. Now you can buy bullion at reputable dealers, for example, traders. Okay, there's lots of different ones. There's local coin shops, but ensure that it is authentic. And they will also, if it's a coin shop, they are specialized. They've been doing it a long time. Online marketplaces, you need to verify the rating and also the authenticity as well. So avoid high premium collectibles, for example, unless you're experienced. And beware of the too good to be true deals, because you may not get your items at the time that you want it. It could be you might have to wait 3 months or 6 months, for example. Verify purity. Make sure that it is the gold, which is 0.999 plus, for example, silver, for example. And then you want to make sure that you do smart storage, and that could even mean that you store it at home in a home safe where it is, I would say you drill it to the wall, make sure that it's a fireproof type of safe and that it's hidden, okay? Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that no one knows what you're doing, okay? Because you don't want to be a target. So it makes it easier for personal access for when you do need it, for example. There's also bank safe deposit boxes. They're secure, but they are subject to government regulations. So private vaults, professional, insured storage options. So there's companies out there that do that as well. Precious metals, for example, there can be some tax advantages to long-term investing. So it all depends really where you're investing, for example. But some security tips: home vaults. You need to make sure that you don't tell anyone that you've got a vault at home and you're storing gold and silver there, because you never know who could overhear your conversation with the trusted person. Okay, so, avoid discussing your things publicly. Consider insurance for high value holdings as well. So during the economic downturns, the demand spikes are high, for example. So when central banks adjust monetary policies, gold revaluation, for example. So when silver prices surge due to industrial demand, these could be a good indicator time for you to sell if you want to. But, you can look at it for saving. I call it saving for a rainy day, or saving for a pension, or saving for a down deposit on a house, or giving a gift to a loved one, for example, paying for university, college, or even down payment on a house or an apartment, for example. Okay, so think about, there's online dealers like there's ITM trading, there's Kitco, there's JM Bullion, for example, and there's local coin shops and dealers. There's auction houses as well. They're very good as well, but you need to make sure that you know what you're doing, for example. So you want to look at diversifying your portfolio, for example, with gold revaluation and the currency resets, and also increasing global demand for tangible assets is crucial. So diversify your portfolio. Hold physical gold and silver. Keep cash reserves for liquidity, for example. Invest in essential assets like real estate and commodities as well. Keep yourself, keep yourself educated on it. Watch gold and silver trends here on YouTube. Join our community as well. We're going to be holding a wealth building boot camp, which is about how to start your own gold business, for example, through buying scrap gold, for example, or online, for example. Okay, we even cover the bullion, where to get them from, or even who the refineries are. Once you've got your scrap gold or silver, how will you get them refined into gold bars and coins, for example. And remember that there is a link here that you can download, which is a free gift. It's a free guide. It's a beginner's guide. And also, one thing you've got to be is you got to be patient. You got to be patient. You got to think long term. You got to be in it for the long term. Precious metals are wealth preservation tools, not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not like that at all. So the next steps, what I'd like you to do is to download our free gold and silver guide, for example. The link is here. Subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed what I've said today for your daily and weekly insights. And I would love for you to book a free 15-minute online appointment so I can discuss with you your wealth building strategies. And maybe I can I can discuss with you about our training programs to do with this, because I feel that this is something that was missing from what I've been talking about, because I've been affected by this greatly by 3 recessions. I'm now in the 4th recession, for example, and I'm certainly going to make sure that things are done correctly. Okay? Because check out the history. You're being made more aware of things now. We didn't really have that YouTube going on where people were jumping on YouTube, even though I started YouTube in 2013, for example. That's when I started my channel. But we're now more informed, and we can now make a choice of what we want to do and be strategic, by spending even $35 a month, buying one silver coin a month, and then in 12 months you've got 12 coins. And you imagine if those 12 coins end up being $800 per ounce, and you've bought 12 coins for 35, you spent 420, but then you've got 12 coins at 800, for example. That's $9,600 for spending 420. That is a massive markup. But that's what I'm saying about the long game, waiting. Okay? 5-10 year plan. So I would love for you to download the free gift that is the free guide here for you to check it out, because this is something truly amazing. And this is why I'm talking about it so much. Whether you're in business, you should be doing this every single month. Minimum 1 silver coin a month, minimum. Whatever you can afford, invest in that rather than stick it in the bank. But make sure you store it somewhere safely and you've got insurance, for example. If you're not in business, you should be doing it as an individual, as a household, for example, because the cash is devaluing for one. And two, the markets are crashing all the time. We don't know whether we're coming and going. I haven't really looked at the SP 500 today. You're seeing so many signs, and this is the reason why the governments around the world they want their gold in their own country, so they've got access to it in case that they need it in an emergency situation. They don't want to have to be trying to say to someone, oh, can you send me my gold that I sent over to you? And it could take years because it's somewhere else. See, this is the thing. When you do this, when you put your gold and silver in a vault, for example, other people could have access. So it's like if you purchase a car and one person, for example, buys that, you purchase the car, then you're driving that car, then another person wants that same car, and they'll wait till they're ready, for example, and then you've got like 50 people that have put money into this car, but you can't use it when you want to. Remember many years ago when it was timeshare? I don't know if some of you may remember, some of you may not. Timeshare apartments, for example, villas, for example. You couldn't use it when you wanted to. You could only use it when you were allowed to use it. You couldn't just say, right, I'm going away today and I'm going to stay in that villa, because someone else has got a share in that. So this is why it's a good idea for you to keep your gold and silver with you, so that you've got that asset there for if and when you need it during an emergency. And if you're looking at a pension plan, for example, then gold and silver is the way to do it, for example, because we don't know how much of our pensions, when the time comes, that we will actually have. And we'll probably lose about a third of what our pensions really should be. We don't know, but I know from what I've been researching and going through that, the amount that you're getting could shrink. So this could be the reason why they say, right, okay, you were meant to get your pension at 65, but now you're going to have to wait till you're 68, for example. We don't know whether they're going to, this is the UK I'm referring to. America, I know the pension is, you can take it from even when you're 60, can't you, your pension, up to 70 is usually the time when people retire, for example. But some people can retire. In America, some people can retire early, as soon as 55 years old, if they don't dip into their funds and things like that, their benefits, their pension. So you can retire earlier, but you're going to have to work hard, and that is, that's grafting, for example. However, like I said, with the pensions, they could move the goalposts and say, well, you got to wait another year. Now you don't get your pension till you're 69, or you don't get your pension till you're 71, because of what's happening with these stocks and everything. We don't know what the outcome is going to be from this. The SP 500, that was crashing, for example. We got all these commercial properties that are empty because people are working from home now or remotely around the world, for example. So what is the cause and effect of that going to be long term? pension wise, because the monies used to be invested in buildings, for example, commercial buildings, office buildings, retail buildings. We don't know. So this is why I'm saying to start looking at the long-term plan and to save an amount each month, buy a coin, or start a scrap gold party business. It doesn't cost much, and I will be going into this because I want to show you how to do it so that you've got a clear idea. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to the fact that, you know, it's $3,000 for a gold, for an ounce of gold, not everyone has got $3,000 to spend that every month, for example. Even if you get a gold coin, for example, that is $800. So the gold coin is $800, or the ounce of gold is $3,000, whereas the ounce of silver is $35. And silver is going to become more and more prominent because it is a dual purpose. It's being used for industry, it's being used for our personal use, for example, our jewelries, for example. So there's only so many mines around the world, and I'm going to be doing a video on that. For example, these mines that globally, they're around the world, but they are depleting, and it's due to, according to the experts, because of all of the usage. We've got the EV electronic vehicles, because of the AI, the chips for the AI, the renewable energy, solar panels, technology. You know, it's such a long list for what silver is being used for, and there's no other material that is going to stand and work like silver does. So it's not like they can use another type of metal, as far as, you know, so far, as far as we know, it is, you know, they're not able to do that. But these silver mines, they've all said globally, collectively, that in 20 years or 25 years or maybe even sooner, there will be no more silver mines unless they go on these discoveries. And they want to go on these discoveries to start digging to find more silver. And this is why I'm saying to you about the scrap gold business. Even if you're buying coins and buying, you know, gold bars, silver bars, why not try the scrap gold? Why not try the scrap jewelry business and turn them into coins or in gold, and create your own gold bars or silver bars, like what I did back in 2007. My husband did, actually. I didn't do it, he did. For example, I was doing the parties, but he was doing the hard work, for example. But imagine you've purchased something for 30% under what the spot price is. And sometimes it was 40%. Because if someone's got a broken piece of jewelry, for example, I'll just give you an example like I mentioned here the other day. Like this is like a gold earring, but it's broken. So can't wear it, can't fix it because it's too delicate for example, or someone's lost an earring, for example, so they've only got one, and then they've got a piece of, they've got a bracelet, and that bracelet, for example, is broken, and all they've got is a broken chain, for example. Or it could be an earring back that is gold. And the same for silver, or there's a chain and it just doesn't work properly. So there's lots of ways that you can buy scrap gold and scrap silver. And I tell you something, when you come out from hosting a party, not hosting a party, you go to the host, you bring a couple of bottles of wine, for example, and then, or whatever it is that they fancy drinking, because I don't drink alcohol, so you could bring 2 bottles of wine and, some fizzy water or something like that. And, the host then does like nibbles or snacks, even just crisp, peanuts, something simple. And then they invite their friends, 10, 20 people. And it's an amazing evening that you have, because everyone's laughing, everyone's, having fun. They bring out their jewelry and you weigh it. You've got your scales. You put it on the scales, and then you test it as well to make sure it is real gold. You check, you've got your eye loop to make sure, check what carat it is, for example. And then you say, right, okay, this is and you got your spread. Years ago, you'd have a spreadsheet of what the prices were for gold and silver, for example, depending what carat it was, for example. And then what you would also do is then say, right, okay, I'll offer you this price. And they'll go, yeah, that's fine, it's broken, so it's no good to me. So you come out of the party and you've got it's such a good feeling. You come out with like a bag of gold or a bag of silver, even though it's broken jewelry. And then when you get, enough, you can then turn it into a kilo, into like into a gold bar or a silver bar. You take it to the refinery, for example, and then they smelt it for you, and then they tell you when it's ready for you to collect it. They give you the paperwork, you got the stamp, the certificate, for example, and it feels so good to hold gold. I mean, I don't know if any of you have held gold bars or silver bars. It feels so good. You feel wealthy. It just gives you a good feeling, and if you could do that on top of what you're doing already, then it's a good thing, and that's why I want to show the training about where to get gold from, where to get silver from, how to test it. We know what the prices are. I can show you where to get the prices are so that you know how to do it. We've got the templates as well, because that's what we used to do in 2007. We used to run gold businesses. We used to do gold parties. That's what they called them back then. And it is an amazing feeling. You see scrap gold, but this scrap gold is worth something. And the people that have come to the house, they've come to sell their jewelry. And they're happy as well. You make sure you give a receipt. You don't just give them the money and take the jewelry. You make sure you give them the receipt, and you make sure that they sign to say that they own that piece of jewelry. Okay? Because we're not here for someone to try and bring. That's why it's good to do it at a friend's someone that is going to invite their friends or their relatives, for example, because it's going to be okay, for example, but you give a receipt and they sign to say that it belongs to them and they have the right to sell that jewelry. So you've got nothing that can come back on you. So can you imagine, right, within say, if you're running a gold party every month, right, and I'm sure that we can find friends, for example, that can hold these gold parties, for example. I can even show you how to do it at an event, for example, but that's part of the training that we do. But I want to be able to show you as well so that you're learning how to do these things. But imagine, month 3, because you've, got scrap gold from eBay, there's all these different platforms that you can get scrap gold from. There's the dealers, there's the pawn shops, for example, there's the host parties that you do, for example, and you're getting these gold bars like every 3 months, and you haven't spent much, but you've also got them at 30% discounted price. eBay's, they do auctions, but I'm referring to the gold parties, for example. So it is a really good business. A gold and silver, holding gold and silver parties, or you go to someone's house and they host it. It is a very good business. People want money. And also friends like to meet up and, have fun. Once a month, you pick different people, for example, and then they bring people to their house, and then, sometimes you've got 20, 30 people, and, one by one, you're there for about 3 hours. It's not like you're in and out. Believe me, you're there for like 3-4 hours. So you'll arrive possibly at 7, 8 o'clock, and you could be there till 11, sometimes midnight. But it is worth it. It's a Friday night or a Saturday. It is well worth it. You could do it on a Friday at one person's house, a Saturday at another person's house. It depends really how aggressive you want to be with it, with this gold party business, for example. But there's so many avenues out there. It's not just where you're buying them online, that you can build your portfolio in so many different ways. And imagine that you especially the parties that you do, and you get like 30% less than what you would have paid if you brought it online, a gold coin, for example. Yes, you've got to pay a refinery to melt down your silver or gold, or smelt it down, for example. But it's only a small percentage, very small percentage. So it is a win-win situation. You got it at the reduced price, 30-40% sometimes. If something's really broken but it's gold, it's still worth something, isn't it? So by getting a refinery company to do it, a reputable one, and I'll be going through that, depends where you are in the world, then you can easily within 3 months have quite a few gold bars and silver bars. Depends how many parties you decide to do, because you imagine you've got 10-20 people at a party, a gold party, which used to happen years ago, for example. Then you will quite easily build up your gold reserve, your gold wealth building strategy or silver strategy, whichever way you decide to go. But look at this as a long term, not a quick get rich scheme. You got to build on that 5 years, 10 years. And imagine, like I did the video yesterday, that you can save, you can get 400,000, for example, in 5 years with a clear strategy. But imagine what that gold will be in 5 years. Not the same price that you paid for 5 years prior. Plus, you brought it at 30% less. Then you can then use it and sell it for good, for gold. You can use it for putting down on a house, for example, or you can give it for a child for their future, so they haven't got to be stressing out about getting a massive mortgage. Imagine you give a child a gold bar or 3 gold bars. What would that be worth when that child is 25, when they finish college? What would that be worth? And then they able to get their own place without dipping into your money, should I say. Or you can pay for their university, or you've got your pension. You can travel, you can do things, you can enjoy and not live check to check. You want to live beyond that. You've worked so hard. Why shouldn't you be able to do that and live where you want to live? So think about what your strategy is, your wealth building strategy is going to be, because I'm here to talk about, wealth building portfolios, building a wealth building portfolio. The easiest way and the cheapest way, as well as you can do it the other ways. It depends what money you've got available. But I tell you what, even if you have got money, why would you not look at that aspect? Especially if you know people. I'm sure we all know a lot of people, for example. I used to do adverts as well. I used to do adverts in the paper. I used to go to the barracks with the Navy wives, and we do gold parties. They literally allowed me to use the village hall. I would go round to markets, for example, and see what jewelry that there was for sale, second-hand jewelry. And then I would haggle. There's so many different ways that you can do things. And everyone's happy. No one's been ripped off or anything like that. They've received what the broken jewelry is worth. It was no good to them. It was just sat in a jewelry box, not doing anything. Whereas they were able to perhaps purchase something, treat themselves to something. Maybe a pamper day, or some flowers, or a new pair of earrings, with the broken jewelry that they've handed over. There's so many different ways that you can create wealth through gold and silver, especially scrap gold and silver. You can buy them on eBay, do the auctions. We all know eBay, don't we? And I know sometimes the price can be really high, but you don't go for that. You go for the lower ones. You watch and you're there. So there is lots of different ways. I would put an advert in the paper looking for scrap jewelry. This is my number. Give me a call. If you do it online, if you do an advert online, how are you going to go and meet that person? So that's why when you do your advert, try and do it local so that you can at least get to the person, see it, test it there and then. That way you're not going to have any problems if they send you something and then it's like, oh, hang on a minute, this isn't real gold or silver. So that's why there's different strategies that you can use to make sure that you get the right items for sale. Because sometimes people may think that they're buying gold, but it's not all gold. Maybe the clasp might be gold, but the chain isn't. So that you've got to be aware of a lot of things. Not saying that, that it's not worthwhile doing, because it is. Especially when you come out with bags of, broken jewelry in a bag, one of those zip bags. It's well worth it, definitely. Friday, Saturday night, you be aggressive. It depends whether you just want to do it once a month, then do it once a month, and then you can get your friend, for example, to hold the party. You choose a different friend that doesn't know that friend kind of thing. Even if you're, workmates, get your workmates to hold parties. So there's lots of different people that that can do these parties and hold these parties for you. And then you pay the host. That's another thing. Even though you're bringing them perhaps a bottle of wine or 2 bottles of wine, one red, one white, for example, fizzy orange, fizzy water, whatever. But you also give them a little something for hosting the party. So you can give them, say, a tenner, for example, or even $20, for example, and they'll be happy with that. But if they're doing the nibbles, then you need to give them, the $20 plus a bit for the nibbles. That's why when I used to do it, I would bring the wine, because I would say I'll bring the wine, for example, and the fizzy water, for example, and I'll bring the crisp, the chips, whatever you call it if you're in America, and I'll bring the peanuts. We didn't go to town. We weren't there baking, doing vol au vents and pizzas and things like that. Yeah, if the host wanted to do that, then that's fine. But I would make it as simple as possible, and we would be there. Me and my husband would be there for about 3-4 hours, and they had such a great time. Everybody had money, and we left with our zip bags with gold or silver, and we'd leave with our scales, etc., and we'd go home and we'd sort them out, and we'd have them all weighed, ready for when we had enough to create gold bars. We'd do one zip bag, and that's a gold bar. We'd do a second zip bag, that's a gold bar. A third zip bag, that's a silver bar, for example, and then we're ready to go to the refinery to get it smelted down. So these are the things that can create you additional income, and this is why the silver, to me, is also better than gold. Because listen, we've got billionaires out there, they're making money from silver, i.e. the electric cars, i.e. the technology. For example, Apple, all of these big, large organizations that we know, they need silver in order for them to be billionaires. So with the silver mines being depleted, and they're going to be used even more now because of AI and the data centers and the AI chips, and there's more being used. That's why they need this renewable energy. They're going to need the solar panels. They're going to need all of these extra things that's going to use more silver, which is going to drive that price up. It's already started. You check it out for yourself. You'll see that there's a lot of people draining the reserves, getting their silver out. Like I said, people are ordering tons of silver, like $50 million worth, for example, of silver, tons of it, and storing it for themselves because they know how valuable it is and how big it's going to get. So this is something that we've all got to really take in and start doing for ourselves, because even if you can't afford the $3,000 for an ounce of gold, for example, then do the scrap gold route or buy the silver coins. Buy the silver, because silver is $35 at the moment as opposed to $3,000. But yet that silver is going to quite easily become like $800. So it's a good investment. So this is why I'm pushing and going on about silver, because you'll see even from my guide that I've got here that you can actually make it, you may end up making more money with silver. Like silver is like the tortoise. The hare is the gold. The story of the hare and the tortoise, for example, and the tortoise is the one that's going to win the race. It could be like that with silver. Silver could end up beating and passing gold, because silver is like a magnet to gold. It's following it all the time. Wherever gold goes, silver's right behind it. But there's other precious metals too, which I'm going to be doing some discussions on that. We've got platinum, rhodium, there's so many, copper, there's different precious minerals, there's so many different precious metals, but silver is the one that's next to gold and more affordable as well, and used more. For example, we're more used to silver than the rhodium, for example. There's also the other one, which is, I want to tell you the story, and I'm going to do that for another day. There's rhodium, uranium, for example. There's so many different metals out there, precious metals. But does anyone here know of the Hunt brothers many years ago? I'm going to do a video on that. The Hunt brothers brought a load of silver and they ended up going broke. But I'm going to talk about that on another day, because that is a really good story. So check it out for yourself. Hunt brothers, Hunt brothers. Many, many years ago, they tried to buy all of the silver, literally. How they managed that back then is unbelievable, and their story is something to look at. It's really got me interested in the history of silver more than the actual gold. But they did that to try and bring the price up. Manipulation of the price, for example, back then, that's what they were using it for. So I'll tell you that story though for another day. But silver, like I said though, it will or could run out in 20 to 25 years if they don't find any other mines. And can you imagine the person that does find that mine that hasn't been discovered? What will silver then be if that person has found a new mine. So check the prices for silver, because it is going up and up slowly. It's like the tortoise, but the tortoise won the race. Okay, gold is like the hare. It's like going fast. But you know what? Gold's going to end up taking a nap, and tortoise is going to just sweep right past it. And it's going to go, what about me? You know, why is no one buying my gold anymore? And that's because the silver has got duality. So it's multiple purposes. And that's why it's driving the price up. You can't see solar panels, they can't use any other metals besides silver. The electric vehicles, they can't use any other metal besides silver, for example. Technology can't use any other besides silver is the best one. They've tried to use other ones like copper and things like that, and it's not as good as what silver is. So that's why there's the dual purpose for silver, and that's why the price is gonna just shoot up to unbelievable. It's gonna just break the vault, basically. And that's why the billionaires, and that's why the family offices, that's why the millionaires, for example, and the banks and the governments, that's why they're wanting this silver badly. If we're not careful, they'll end up emptying out the vaults, and there'll be nothing for us, for example, which I'm sure there will be. But I'm just saying, it just seems like everyone is just buying, getting it out of these vaults. They want it back in their countries, in their vaults, so they know where it is. They've got it on hand when they need it. This is something that you got to look at. Look at the signs. Look at the signs, and look at how people are buying silver more than gold now. It's becoming the stronger one, and it's going to push the price up. So in the description here, there is the free guide, because like I said, thank you for staying till the end. And there is a free guide here. It's just a beginner's guide. And like I said, for financial advice, I'm not here for financial advice. I'm here just as an ordinary person that's done scrap gold businesses, that's brought gold, that's turned them into gold bars, turned them into silver bars. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here as a financial advisor. So if you need to seek financial advice, then you need to speak with a financial advisor, because they'll be the ones that are qualified to be able to talk to you about that. But what I'd like to ask you to do is to book a free 15-minute appointment to discuss the scrap gold and silver business with me. So I hope that was helpful to you, everyone. I hope that you're having a wonderful evening as well, and I look forward to speaking with you all soon. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your precious time. I appreciate you, and thank you for your likes, and thank you for your subscriptions. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe, hit the notification button, because you will get updates for when I go live. I am going live every day, because I'm going to be showing you where to get gold from, how to buy the gold. I'm going to be going in the shops, for example. I'm going to be going online, showing you with a presentation, for example. And I'm even going to go as far as the refining processes and things like that with you. And also showing you how to do a gold party. I think that is key. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here this evening. Hope you have a wonderful day. I don't know what time it is where you are, whether it's daytime, evening time, afternoon. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And I will speak with you soon tomorrow. And don't forget the free guide. All right, take care. Thank you. Bye.